first world, come in and take a seat. Pay us no attention, it's all conspiracy. We have satire and parody, some funny, some perverse. If none of it's offensive to you, you'd be the first.
Epsilon City needs heroes, but will Scratch, the Chrome Dog, have what it takes to answer the call? Chrome Dog, starting February 3rd on Indiegogo.
25 seconds to curtain, folks.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case, Reed in the house.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome back. Always good to have you on the show, man. We're crowdfunding as usual. That's normally what we're doing here, and we're on Indiegogo with Chrome Dog.
Chrome Dog number one.
Chrome Dog number one. How did you get that name? I mean, what rattled around in your head where the Scrabble title just said Chrome, cat, duck, moose, dog, Chrome Dog? Here we go.
So, okay, that's a great question. So I guess part of me was inspired by a lot of the werewolf, the apocalypse games that I played back in the day. I was always kind of enamored with a certain tribe in werewolf. To those out there that may be familiar, known as the Glasswalkers, and they basically so the way well, I don't want to go too far into it. I could go into the weeds on that game, but essentially there's all these different tribes, which are different types of werewolves. Different breeds, if you will, of werewolf, and they each had their own different flavor. And so there were two specifically that were very human in their nature, and one was the Bone Gnawers, and the other were the Glasswalkers. And the Bone Gnawers were kind of like your street urchins, your homeless people, the dregs of society, and then your Glasswalkers were your high-rise kind of, very much into technology, type of werewolves. And so the Glasswalkers would actually have powers that would allow them to, it was almost like magically they could hack different things, or they had this ability called Jam Tech where they could actually prevent something from working.
Now, wait a minute. I've been watching werewolf movies since I was just a wee lad. I don't remember Lon Chaney hacking nothing.
Right. Well, that's the beauty of White Wolf, Studios or White Wolf, I think it's Studios at the time, when they created Werewolf the Apocalypse, they just kind of went and created all these different tribes and different flavors of different werewolf concepts.
Okay.
One of the main things about werewolf is that they change at will almost. So they don't have to wait for a full moon. It's just when the full moon happens, it's way easier for them to change. And then they also, as kind of an aside, they can travel into this place called the Umbra, which is this weird like spirit world that is kind of like outside our own. And so a lot of that was kind of swirling around in my mind as I'm writing. I'm actually writing a script for this other character, the street level. My take on the Daredevil mixed with Iron Fist, maybe a little Batman thrown in there, for good measure. And as I'm writing this character and the story, and I started out with it being kind of futuristic and whatnot, but then for some reason, like that felt too sci-fi, and it felt too trite. And so I kind of like, okay, I'm going to dial back technology. Well, when I do, there's this main character that I'm writing this script, and I'm formulating formulating how he's going to progress in his thwarting of this heist that's in progress. And one of the things that happens is as I'm writing this thing, I see we have this image of this character. Imagine him being. We'll just insert, because I'm not ready to reveal this character yet, right? But
okay.
Imagine this character as being kind of like a Daredevil-esque type character who's kind of looking in on the planning process of this heist, and he's kind of, it's almost like he's casing them while they're figuring out how they're about to, because they're doing this planning process right before they go, kind of like their last minute, hey, we're looking over the maps kind of thing. And as I'm writing this, there's one person missing. Okay, so there's three of them, and he, having kind of stalked these guys, he's like, okay, well, there's this fourth person, and he's listening to their conversations, and they're kind of, him and Han saying this one person's late, and for whatever reason, I had this idea for this, this metallic werewolf imposing figure who was, basically like Colossus with just a wolf visage, and the term chrome dog, kind of like home dog, chrome dog, and he was going to be a little more urban, and and he may turn out that way, I don't know, but I just, as I was developing the concept, he's late to this meeting, and so that's kind of causing this internal friction among the guys that are trying to plan this thing without him. And but yet he's also the one, and this is where it kind of comes in, he's also the one who they need him to be able to hack certain places that they're trying to take on this heist. So fast forward to some other scenes later on, they're in the middle of the heist, and they dropped him off in this garage, and he's hacking an elevator. There's a terminal that's kind of like next to the elevator, and he's able, with his abilities, he has a like physical jack that he can jack into anything, and he's able to kind of like use his own technology. So he's way advanced, and so I mean, all of this is kind of developing almost like. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like that was the initial idea. Now it's kind of in his main, so like he can pull it out from under his main. But at the time, it's almost like a Polaroid. You know how you take a Polaroid picture, and it just starts to kind of develop in time. Well, that's kind of how this character of Chrome Dog was developing in front of me. Hey, Dr. Rhino. And so as he's hacking this thing, I'm imagining him kind of doing some Johnny Mnemonic stuff, in his own, his own vision. He's got these different like keypads and things that in space in front of him, no one else can see it but him. And so as he's kind of doing his thing, here comes the protagonist to kind of come up and say, and pressure him a little bit to give up on this heist and all this, and that he should be joining the good guys and this and that. And Chrome Dog's like, well, tell your boss he needs to come up some more money because these guys are paying me way better than you would, than you would.
Yeah. Who said crime doesn't
And so, right. And so as this interchange happens, the protagonist kind of decides, okay, well, I'm gonna take matters in my own hands, and so he like grabs him and he does all this like jujitsu and stuff on him, and so Chrome Dog is sitting there, he's hacking and stuff while he's dealing with, because he's a heavy, right? So he's a big bulky guy and he can deal with this guy, and so he winds up just like taking him, using his own powers against him, and just chucks him across across this parking garage, through the concrete and into a dumpster below. And as soon as that happened in my imagination, as I'm writing this thing out, I was like, okay, I want to know who this guy is. I don't really care much about that other protagonist. I want to know, what is Chrome Dog? Who is he? And and so I became just really enamored with the whole concept that was kind of developing in front of me. And so that was kind of the start of it.
So he was a secondary character in a book you didn't finish up, who became his own character.
Yeah.
Says, yeah, you know what? It's really all about me.
Exactly, and I owe that to having that improvisational mind that came from game mastering for so many different games, and being quick on my feet when it came to stuff. So by the seat of my pants kind of thing, which I think is something that is necessary when you're a lot of times when you're creating narrative, you need to fly by your seat of the pants. Get whatever is coming out, spill that into words onto a page, and then come back to it, later on if you need to. And then eventually it's kind of like, okay, well, I have this developed, and so I'm going to plot these little points, and then later on flesh the stuff out and adjust things as you see fit. But that's just a peek into my writing process and how Chrome Dog was born.
I love when a character does that. It kind of reminds me of nothing at all to do with werewolves or anything like that. But Peter David did a series of books called Sir Apropos of Nothing, and it's about a guy who is the supporting character of a fantasy story, who realizes he's the supporting character and says, "Yeah, screw this. No, I want all of this stuff." So he takes over the story. And thrusts himself into the role, and it just throws the entire world off kilter because he's not supposed to be the hero. He's supposed to be, the page or the squire or something. But sometimes that's when you've created a good character, when they do take over a life of their own. And we've seen it. I can't call any instances to mind, but I know we've seen it in comics where a side character has become so popular that they've earned their own book and then outshone the books that they were born in.
Oh yeah. I think I mean, you could make the argument that Harley Quinn did that, but I mean, the thing, like, to me, she doesn't have that staying power, like, under normal circumstances. But whatever.
If she's written well, she could have that, but she's very seldom written well.
Well, are any of them anymore? I mean,
yes, Stargirl.
Okay, I think they did a Storm book, but even then it felt like an X-Men book. It was like a sub story, because she's still, she's not out there on her own fighting crime. She's still subservient to the university system of the Homicide Avengers man. Of the school. She gets to the school and she's still an instructor there, and it's kind of like, it's not really breaking out on her own. But yeah.
Well, nope, Mike, this is not Sir Justin, although I did have him in mind when I titled the show tonight. This is the new shining knight of comics, and that would be the titular. I say titular because titular just makes me giggle. It's the titular Chrome Dog, #1 Perfect Strangers here on Indiegogo. The link to this is right below the video at any time tonight, folks. You can click on this and it'll open in a new window. You can still hear Justin talking, learn more about the project here. But this is it's an interesting book, because I have read the the ash can, the preview ash can.
Mhm.
Now, is that going to play much of a role in the finished product, or is it going to be like an add-on? I could read it. You could tell me that way, but I can just ask you directly here.
Yeah. So full disclosure, it's the first 10 pages of the 32 page book.
Okay,
And
there
so
we go.
what I wanted to do is I wanted to give people a taste of what, and I also wanted to get people like just right into the story. So as you know, for those of you that are familiar with the Ashcan, which by the way, those 10 pages are now a part of this campaign. So as we scroll through, I've made each one of those pages available. So folks don't have to download if they don't want to. They can just read it off the campaign. And I took that. I took liberty when I saw Graham Nolan do the same thing. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that.
Copy what works.
Because I mean, well, it's one of those things. I'm trying to get it in front of as many eyeballs as possible, and I'm also trying to earn people's trust. And I get it. A lot of folks don't want to like click on a certain link or this or that if it's going to redirect them somewhere else or whatnot. So I just want to make it as approachable as possible. But I also wanted to not like lead with the origin story, because I feel like too many times in comics, and I mean, yeah, in comics, do you have retellings of the origin and the this and the that, or when you get into the movies, it's like it seems like every single Spider-Man movie, when they start the movie, they gotta actually like go back and do the origin again. It's like
We got to watch Uncle Ben die again.
Yeah, exactly. Or not exist at all, kind of as we see, because there was no Uncle Ben, I think, in the Spider-Man Homecoming, if I'm not mistaken.
Not in the Tom Holland one. No, I mean, that's the one where they actually just,
right.
You got powers. Just do your thing.
Pretty much. But then again, his suit, comes from Tony Stark. How does that happen? It's like, come on, whatever.
Well,
But
that's
anyway,
because you had to see, Endgame or whatever it was there. Oh, no, Civil War. That was his first MCU appearance there.
So, whichever, it's just one of those, to me, the origin story is tired. I don't want to slow down long enough to try to tell it in the beginning. So what I'm doing, what I'm attempting to do here is these first 3 issues of Chrome Dog are going to tell, you're going to get little pieces of his origin, as well as this big, we'll say this major thing that he has to confront and deal with in order for him to progress as a character. So let's just say that all of that I told you earlier about the heist and all that happens in the future from where we are now. Okay. So it's yet, that kind of thing doesn't get to happen yet, because Chrome Dog has some things that are on his plate between now and then. He's got to gain a certain sense of autonomy, and right now he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But
I love that he has
new. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I love that he has a secret identity, and that's not a spoiler. It's in those first 10 pages that are shown here, because how do you hide that in the modern world?
Well, that's the thing. It is a secret identity, but then it's not, right? So it's a secret identity for him in the moment, as his day job. He doesn't want people knowing exactly that he's the one that's behind that suit. But as you'll find in the rest of the book, he has other jobs that he does, and so he doesn't always wear a costume or this or that. Like he'll let himself shine, because it's whatever. He's just trying to get the job done, and he's also trying to be a hero to the citizens of Epsilon City as he goes about his day, kind of like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So we're gonna see him, saving cats from trees or whatnot. I mean, I'm gonna use that as an example, but yeah, I mean, he kind of, but I do use it in a way in that moment. His helmet, or his headpiece doesn't come off because it's stuck, right? And so I wanted that because I wanted Sarah to wake up, look around, and see him, and not be completely like freaked out. Actually have some type of comfort, and it's like, okay, it's like, okay, this is Wally, and then it's recognize that Wally is injured, and so it kind of like gives her that connection to him, and then she's also scared because where's her mom? Her mother's gone, And so,
And folks, what he's talking about here, you can see on this layout here, that is not Chrome Dog's head. If you're looking at the image, that is Chrome Dog has a job at an amusement park or like a Disneyland, dressed as one of the characters. So he's got this giant red panda head and suit on, and it kind of all falls apart except for the head in battle.
And
I would have loved to have seen that job interview.
Yeah. Well, he has his fans, I guess, when it comes to the different people who employ him. He certainly has a certain charisma that folks are like, okay, yeah, you can do the job, that kind of thing. So I don't foresee him having an interview that he fails.
He's definitely big enough to fit the suit.
Yeah.
So now explain a little bit about what he's looking at here, because I saw this and I'm like,
sure.
I can tell that he's got different readings on people, and he reads something different from the mom than he does from the daughter.
Yes. So we're not yet privy to that information. It'll come up later. But for now, what he does, the suit itself, I say suit, the shell, okay, that he inhabits, it scans almost as easily as you and I would breathe, right? And so it's always scanning and checking, and collating data, and storing that data just in case he needs, just in case there's a need for him to, find someone or track someone. So it's a tracking mechanism kind of thing. And so as it's scanning this woman and her daughter Sarah, it picks up on like an energy signature with her that is not present with the daughter, but it also assigns colors to either one to differentiate, so that it makes it easier for him to spot, in the tracking, kind of as he goes to track either of them.
Right, and that comes into play real fast here, because there are people who are abducting and trafficking children from the park, and
essentially that's the notion. Yeah, that is definitely the notion here. And it's important to point out that I didn't want to zoom in and show the actual kidnapping take place, because I wanted to I wanted to show it from his perspective, and so there's no drone that's like hovering above him that's going to go over and is like, oh, here's the kidnapping, you know what I mean, and then back to him.
Yeah.
So it's from his point of view, and I wanted to capture that.
And he does have sort of a mapping sense on his Google Glass sensors here. You can see the green light going this way, the purple light going this way. That's the tracking colors that he's assigned to both. So they're taking the mom one direction and the girl the other. Right. So he's got to make that choice of who's he go after. And this is just such a cool image right here, where it's like all the savagery of Chrome Dog, but Wally the Wolf's head still there. It's
right.
It's like Wolverine's claws and Mickey Mouse's top. It would just be with that perfect smile, molded on there, which would be kind of the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it gets even better though, because we go full meta. As he gets into this fight scene, we see the panel, the panels start to erode and move and shift and this and that, and then we also see that face start to be expressive, like in that moment when Phenom punches him in the head and it swirls around, he kind of has that oof look on the face. So,
it's not like, but Iron Man's helmet used to do the same thing. You could tell emotions on Iron Man's helmet, and it was metal. He just moves it back around and then takes over.
He takes over, takes him down, and then there he is, standing triumphant over his body.
and like you said, the little girl, she's not freaked out by him. She just wants to know where her mom is, and then realizes he's hurting. And end of Ashcan. Link at the top and bottom of this preview, folks. You can click it anytime and just bring that down to your PC, read it at your leisure. And of course, you've been in touch with 6 a.m. Comics.
Yes. Yeah, and that was a while back. I just, I decided to, go ahead and see what he had to offer. And I was like, here, so I commissioned it, and he was very gracious. Even in some color changes that I wanted to do, he's a really, really stand up guy.
I wonder how big that collage is by now, because he's done so many for so many people.
Yeah, he the original version of Chrome Dog had of this image. He had green pants, and I felt that looked quite like, one, it wasn't blue like the cover, right? The cover image that Luke did. But the second thing is that green looked an awful lot like weaponized werewolf, because he's wearing green pants, and I'm like, I want to differentiate the two at that point. But I
where do you buy green pants?
And that's right. Well, I mean,
you buy blue jeans everywhere.
And also with him being, a blue collar worker, having blue pants kind of it fits anyway. It makes sense,
Yeah, they're jeans, so it makes perfect sense. We have some stretch goals here. Now we've already got the Aaron Lopresti cover. We saw that at the top. That's the alternate cover. But you're going to try to get a metal trading card at some dollar level that we're not yet at. Is it going to be the same card, same art?
It will be the same art. It will just feature, some like 90s style, or maybe even something like the 90s. I kind of want to put my own spin on it and make that kind of the what do you call it? The graphic design going forward over it. But the thing about this is, initially, it was an initial gift to the first 50 physical backers for Chrome Dog, and since we've reached that, if once we get to that indeterminate goal, I that's kind of like I want to open it up to everyone at that point. But we got to get there first.
Okay.
And I've got some other goals like beyond that, but I figure it's better just to kind of.
Oh yeah, baby steps. Get the first goals out of the way first, and then you just add them on. So the featured tier you have on here is a bundle of comics, all from Arrow 4.0. Randy Zimmerman's outfit. How did Chrome Dog come to live at Arrow?
That's a great question. So as Luke and I were working on this book, I also became acquainted with Randy, and also kind of after I heard the story about and became involved with the crowdfunding campaign on the Long Shots Indiegogo campaign, I was like totally jazzed about trying to get indie comics on spinner racks. And I can't remember if you and I had that conversation the last time I was on, but I've got 4 different spinner racks in one in each 4 different stores around 2 towns, or actually 3 technically. And so I was wanting to take help them get some of the get their issues from each of the creators that were involved in the Long Shots campaign, and get them on those along with some alternate comics, and just get them on the spinner racks. And so I did that. And so in that process, Randy and I wound up doing quite a bit of business with each other, and he saw the amount of hustle, I guess, that I was just kind of doing out of the kindness of my heart, because there's not much money in it for me, because I'm buying them at a certain percentage, and there's not much markup that I can put on it before I give it to the end business,
because the retailer's got to have some markup too.
Exactly. And so it was all just kind of a labor of love, and the numbers just didn't really like. And I was overworking myself at the time, and it's kind of like I'm a creator first, so I felt like, okay, I need to really like make sure I'm focusing. But as we were as Luke and I were jamming out the panels, he just approached me and says, hey, how would you like to be a part of? And I say Luke approached me and he says, hey, I've been talking to Randy, how would you like to be Arrow? And I'm like, are you serious? And he says, yeah. I was like, yeah. Yeah, why not? I mean, yes, because I like I like the history of it. I love the idea of being a part of an organization who, this IP is mine, and and Arrow Comics, is not here to take royalties off of my, or piggyback off of my success necessarily, outside of the other creators that are under this umbrella. But I get to, this IP is 100% mine, so I can do with it as I please. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, definitely.
And this perk now that because you're with Arrow, you can deliver a handful of comics for $40. Not just Chrome Dog, the Luke Stone cover, but the Fool #1, which I've not heard of. HeroBot 02, which I have heard of. Revolt, Soltac, and Hybrids. Of course, I've heard of the Hybrids.
Yeah. So the Fool and HeroBot Zero, those two comics, those are Randy Zimmerman's titles that he's written, both of those. And so HeroBot Zero #2 is a new comic. It hasn't been fully produced yet. And then also the Fool. Can't wait to get that one myself. I'm eager to see what he's doing.
And then we get into the digital of what the product actually is here. The Chrome Dog book, $5 for a PDF, folks. You aren't going to get a much better deal than that for an e-copy of a book. If you absolutely have to have digital copies, you can shell out $5 on that. But then, if you are like me and you want to have something in your hands, well, you'll still get the. No, you won't. No, you won't. I thought I read physical stretch goals and I started to read PDF and I was like, nope, not the same thing.
Now, I will say that currently there's an add-on for the digital that's discounted by $1, so it's $4 if you just tack it on to one of the physical tiers.
Why not? But just do it. You're still at $19, which is far less than. You said the page count earlier on this, the intended page count. What was that again?
32 pages.
32 pages
content.
Yeah. So $15. You can start following the adventures of Scratch, aka Chrome Dog. I'm assuming, is he alien, or is he? You're not going to tell us. The secret origin is issues and issues away. Never mind. I forget. I asked. I unasked the question.
Well, I mean, so I've already kind of lifted the lid a little bit. So, full disclosure, the place where he lives is not Earth. And Epsilon City is on a completely different planet. It's a planet called Ringgold. But make no mistake, the technology there is not space age technology, at least not, not in this era.
Wait a second. So the entire area is not Earth?
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm seeing all these humans and thugs, and I'm like, New York. But no.
Well, I mean, it's Epsilon City, which is a kind of like my my version of a 1980s to 90s technology amalgamation of Gotham and Mega City 1. So yeah. What? Okay.
So for $15 for the regular one, and you know what? You've got an Aaron Lopresti option here. Not even charging an upcharge to have the Aaron Lopresti cover over the Luke Stone cover.
Okay, so here's the caveat about the Aaron Lopresti cover, and you're going to hear it here. I would like to say you're going to hear it here first, but I'm pretty sure I shared it somewhere else yesterday. I know I've been putting it on social media. Okay. So the Aaron Lopresti cover, as well as the next tier that you're going to scroll down to, those two will not be available once we go in demand. Okay. So, folks need to get on board and get on board now. The black and white line art edition is actually about to end in 6 days. So as soon as we extend for like right now it's undisclosed. I don't know if I want to go for another 2 weeks or if I want to go for another 30 days. I haven't made that decision yet, but I will just tell you that after this 30 days, the only way you're going to be able to get this black and white line art edition is to take advantage of the all-nighter bundle, which is at the bottom of this of the tier list.
Okay.
So then the Lopresti cover will still be available on its own until we get it. The Lopresti cover and the all-nighter bundle, all of that is going to be available until we get to in demand. Once we go in demand, I'm removing those tiers. And so all you're going to have access to are the Arrow bundles and the standard comic, and of course the digital.
Yeah,
But yeah, because I want to keep it. I want to keep it limited. I want to keep it special, and I want people to really like take notice and say, hey, I want to back this early and back it off.
It's limited, but it's fair. It's not like you're saying, hey, you can only get this limited one for like 100 copies of the other one. You've got plenty of time to get it, but when it's over, it is over. You will have missed the boat. The door to the ark has been shut. Sorry, you're left out in the cold.
I mean, I may. It just depends, like, on how I'm feeling during in demand times. I may come up with some type of secret tier that allows access. Maybe, I don't know. Like I don't really. So I want it to be limited and special.
Well, if it's going to be limited and it's going to be special, I'm going to ask the obvious. The book's called Chrome Dog. I would expect a cover to have some chrome on it.
Right.
I didn't see that. That's not there.
You didn't see chrome on the cover? What do you mean?
I didn't see any chromium covers. I would expect something shiny and sparkly.
So if you scroll down, if we go back to the perks, there's you've got the swing shift. Yeah, so you go past that, and then you got the Arrow Comics Bundle 1, and so you got the swing shift. Scroll up just a sec there. The midnight shift with Lopresti. So we have metal, right? But it's in the form of a metal print, which is that's going to be the Lopresti cover in a metal print along with the comic in kind of in a bundle together. And then we did the same with the Luke Stone cover variant in the swing shift. And then after that, we've got the all-nighter bundle, which comes with both of those plus the black and white art edition, which again, after these next 6 days, once I extend, this will be the only way you can get the black and white line art edition.
Yeah,
will be with the all-nighter bundle.
I was thinking, and of course, it's not my money, so what do I care? How cool it would be for the cover to have Chrome Dog logo in chrome, and then every part of Chrome Dog's chrome in chrome just spot on the cover, and everything else be normal comic. But
so that's something that I was considering, but I also want to get. Well, it's not just the money. I was actually paying attention to all the trouble that folks like Ethan Van Sciver were having getting his chromium versions of Rex Planet, quality controlled and everything else. And I just don't want the hassle. It's like I just want to get the books, get them in the hands of the people that that got them. And if you want metal, here's a metal print. Here's a metal trading card. I mean, there's your chrome.
There's plenty of metal in there.
Chrome as a. Yeah, pretty much. And I'm doing the sticker. I'm going to do a hollow foil sticker, mainly because I like the quality of it. At least what I've seen with the manufacturer that I've decided to go with. So
one of the things about Chrome Dog that we didn't really touch on is that he doesn't know. He has no idea who he is, or anything like that. He could have been a normal person who fell into a vat of Alpo near a mercury factory and just mutated into this thing, or he could be from a planet of metal wolves. We don't know. He doesn't know, and that's going to be part of the journey. Now, before you say we're going to find out in 3 issues or 6 issues, do we have to find out? Do we ever have to know? I think finding out when Marvel published Logan, I think they ruined the entire mystique of Wolverine.
That's true. No dispute here, especially the way they handle it. It's kind of like I'm like the twists and things that they were doing in that series. I'm like, come on, man, whatever.
Yeah. And then I liked seeing that he was in World War II. Oh my God, he's that old, really? Okay.
And no offense to anybody out there, but have you seen Secret Garden? Okay, that's what it was. I mean, if you watch the movie Secret Garden or read, I think it was based on a book. But if you watch Secret Garden, that was exactly the plot points of what was going on in Wolverine's origin story. It's like the Kubert brothers. I mean, no offense, but I'm just saying it's kind of like it rhymes at least. You know, you got the sick kid who turns out, you know what I mean? It's just like whatever. And you got this redhead girl wants to come and play with him all the time. I mean, hello. Anyway.
Oh, now I won't ever read that book the same way again. But you're right.
I'm sorry, but that when it was coming out, you know, and I was there, you know, when those issues were brand new, and I was there for it, man. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. You know, I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, no, they didn't do that, and sure enough, they did. But I will say, so Chrome Dog, for all intents and purposes, there is a humanity to him somehow. So we'll say, you know, like, you know, his consciousness is human, you know, for lack of a better term in the moment. And as far as anyone's concerned on Ringgold, there is no aliens yet. You know, no one's ever seen aliens. Everything, you know, when they did the mass migration from Earth through the Stargate to this planet that was a very very promised land, so to speak, and we're able to, you know, to kind of, you know, settle there, starting over. There, you know, everything was, you know, nice and just ready to, you know, it was Wild West, if you will, kind of, you know, it's or pioneering, right? So as they pioneered, they didn't encounter anything beyond some strange species of creatures that were like back home on Earth. Few exceptions here and there, and one of them is the you know, Wally the Wolf is his, you know, you got Mickey Mouse and you got Bugs Bunny, right? So
Right.
Wally the Wolf is a there's a golden prairie wolf whose habitat is in a nearby sector. So, you know, and so that's kind of where that the animators of that particular, you know, cartoon series, you know, that's where they got the idea. And so his costume, that's why his color is how it is, because he's a golden wolf, you know.
So no aliens. So this guy here that Chrome Dog is fighting is just another resident. So is it sort of like
so
I'm thinking like Batman Beyond, where people
he-
were mutating with gene splicing and stuff.
So he's not just another resident. He's definitely been tinkered with by a mad scientist, who will yet remain nameless. But that this guy, this is Seether. He can shapeshift from human to this, and pretty much at will. And his power set is that he can superheat his extremities, and can produce you know, bursts of steam, as well as heated, you know, kind of like he can take his hands or even his tail and superheat that to like this white hot intensity and melt through even steel. So he becomes a worthy adversary for Chrome Dog to be battling. However, and right here, he's in his element, right? So Seether is in his element with this rain coming down. They're on this ferry, you know, going across, you know, these open waters, across this sound, if you will. And so he's in his element. But if he dries out, he's in trouble. And so, you know, that's the thing. You know, Seether has his
He has to
thing.
stay wet.
But yeah, he's been genetically right, and when he's human form, he sweats profusely. So
He's a were-dragon.
but yeah, something like that maybe. But and he's aquatic too, you know, so he's at home in the water as well. But he was genetically modified by a guy who has his designs on humanity, we'll say. It's kind of the analog, if there is one, to Magneto in a sense. He's trying to ready humanity for the next, you know, evolution, because he sees what's coming, and so there's something coming, and he's been to that promised land. He's seen, you know, what's coming, and he's like, and he stared Oblivion into the face, you know, into its face, and he's like, okay, I need to make people ready now, and so that's what he's all about. And Seether, well, I'll even say this: Seether and Phenom both, right? So Phenom was the guy in the he had the crystals coming out of his face earlier when Chrome Dog kicked him, or punched him in the face.
Right.
And so, he has, he has his own mutations that he deals with. But both of them are kind of like the Bebop and Rocksteady to this mad scientist character. And so,
At least he's
So,
operating
yeah.
with pure motives. He's trying to save
Yeah,
people.
Oh
Just,
yeah, he's trying to save people, but in the meantime, he's kind of making a mess of things. And of course, they have their own. Each one of these have their own ideas about what they want to do. So they don't see themselves as henchmen so much as they just work for the man. And boy,
Very cool. Want to remind people at the top of the hour to head over to the Mike Stand, Mike Walters channel on YouTube, where you can get your fill of the niche news of the day, everything in comics, manga, anime, and professional wrestling. And then on Fridays, tune in for the comic book historical retrospective, where Mike and his merry cast of henchmen will read Golden Age comics out loud, doing the voices. And this Friday, I will be there as we will dig into some of the first Archie comics, the MLJ heroes. So we'll get a little taste of history there. Laurie Calcaterra, good to see you in the show. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Laurie's got a book out too, and Laurie, you need to come on our show and talk about it. So you know how to reach me. No, wait a second. You know how to reach us. We're in the madness. Just hit us up in the madness, and we'll set it up. We'll make it happen. My hat's out of reach. I can't do it. So, is Chrome Dog the only pot of coffee percolating in your head?
No.
Okay.
There are other denizens and citizens and justice makers of Epsilon City that have yet to come out, and so he's definitely this is my Spawn, or this is my Spider-Man, but make no mistake, I have other heroes that I want to introduce, but yeah, and not only heroes, like I have other stories in different genres I want to play with. And that's kind of, with Epsilon City has different, it's Epsilon Sector, right? Or Sector Epsilon. And there's these other sectors that are nearby, and each one has their own cultural flavors. And there's even one that was destroyed a number of years ago called Sigma City, or Sector Sigma. And it's going to play a pivotal role in some of the intrigues and things that happen in the backstory of the villains that Chrome Dog both encounters and also is employed by. So, in the issues to come. So I look forward to cracking open this planet known as Ringgold and feasting on the contents inside, and
Very
also
cool.
inviting everyone to do it with me.
Well, folks, if you want to get in on the ground floor of the world of Chrome Dog, this is your opportunity. Limited opportunities at some level, but nothing wrong with getting that basic cover. I get the basic cover of things all the time. It's still the same story, still the same fun. Hit that link below to Indie. Even if you don't back it tonight, okay, I get it. They run for days. Hit that remind me button so that you get the updates. Follow the campaign so that you're like, oh, that's right. That ends in a couple of days. I better hit that now. I've got money now. I'll throw it, get in now. So, what more can I tell you, folks? Just get in there and do it. Justin, where can they find you elsewhere on the interwebs if they want to follow your work?
So I practically, I hate to say, but I've found my own little, niche, my little corner of the room of Twitter, where I kind of sit in my own little sleeping bag and kind of watch the other people bicker with each other for the most part. Sometimes I'll like different things, but I try not to post or, poke too much. I'm very much a lurker there, but I'm always posting about Chrome Dog and the other projects that I'm working on, and some of the other things that I find just super cool that I'm seeing out there. I'm also on Facebook as well as YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, which I'm about to kind of start, firing up a little bit here and there, see what,
You got to have one to promote yourself. You
Yeah,
certainly can't
but,
rely on us
also,
to do it, because I checked. You got nothing
well,
out of
and
us. We wasted your time.
Stop.
You gotta have your own channel. Get out there and make your own money.
Well, and it's not just promotion either. It's just I want to be approachable. I don't want anyone to think of me as being in some ivory tower or something. And I like to mingle. I like to be a part of the culture and to be able to chat with the different people in the live stream. So I look forward to it.
When I started this several years ago, I had on people who you would know if I've said their names. You can find them in our history. And now it's like, I'm scared to even approach them now because, they just skyrocketed off into stardom with either their own YouTube shows or their own indie books, mostly both. And it's like, yeah, y'all want to come? Remember me? The guy who's still down here in the trenches, pulling in, 50 hits a night. Come on. You want to come back on my show sometime? And sometimes they do. Ethan came on our show just a couple of weeks back. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. We talked about the trademark.
Yeah, it was.
But I'm a little nervous to reach out to some of the kings and such to say, hey, welcome back. But
I mean, and that's the other thing. Someone, people keep asking me how I got Aaron Lopresti to do the cover. But let me let you know a little secret. I just asked him. I sent him a DM and I'm like, hey, how much to do a cover?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, thanks.
I learned this a long time ago. You don't get what you don't ask for. So,
hey, Don.
So, I should know this when
yeah,
long lore. Okay. Critical Blast lore. I used to work for a site called The Trades. I didn't own that one. And I got invited to write for them because I had done some interviews for another site that had gone out of way. And they said, yeah, you can put up movie reviews. I'm like, well, how do you do movie reviews? Like, you go see a movie and then you write a review. Like, okay, but I'm pretty sure that's not how the newspapers pull that one off. So I started making phone calls and found that hey, if you write for somebody that they can check out that you actually write, they'll send you for free. And I said, well, this is a cool little gig. I wonder if that works for DVDs. It did. I said, I wonder if that works for young adult novels. It did. I wonder if that works for comic books. For a while, it did. And the difference being that Scholastic and movies and DVD distributors, they don't mind your honest opinion. I left somebody out of that. There are people who don't really want your honest opinion if you're going to get their stuff to review. So,
yeah, for me, I need that honest feedback because, and here's another one I'm going to drop on you because we didn't scroll down far enough in the campaign, but that's okay.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
No, it's okay. You just scroll it all the way down. Where we talking about the creative team? I just added Eric Weathers to for the lettering for this book. So
did you even have to ask him, or did you just write letterer Eric Weathers and he just kind of shows up?
No, I asked him. I asked him initially, and for the Ashcan preview, Luke Stone did the letters for me. But after reading, oh my gosh! So I'm not going to gush too much about this, but I read the ultimate version of Blood Honey, and I saw his lettering in here, and I'm just like, okay, that's it. I got to do it because
Eric's lettering so many things. I swear to God, if you could just write his name as letterer on your book, he'll see it and like, oh, I'm on that one too. I forgot about. Okay, better get on that. Because he can't possibly be keeping track of everything he's lettering.
Oh, I'm sure he is. But yeah, no, I hear you. But that it did something to me to look at the whole package of Blood Honey. It's a treat for anybody that can get it. And I'm really thankful that EBS kind of opened it up for he did a flash sale for the scratch, like the dings and dented versions. Yeah. And it was and I got a heck of a deal on it. So I was like, shoot, yeah, I don't want that book. I'll do the same for Wrecked Planet. I mean, I don't care. It's fine.
Everybody's getting their Wrecked Planets in the mail, except me. Don't have mine yet. Still waiting. I'm checking that mailbox like Charlie Brown on Valentine's Day. Nothing from the little red-haired girl. But I keep checking. I know I did it. I checked my Indiegogo. It's like, yep, there it is. I definitely did back. So, all right, Justin, thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing Chrome Dog. I almost said Cyber Dog with us because we started talking about that. That would no. Let's not make that happen
Well,
yet.
but what happened is you got Chrome Dog and someone tagged EBS and mentioned something about Cyberfrog and how they could do a team up or whatnot, and he even he kind of mentioned it. He says could be, maybe.
Well, he doesn't rule out anything.
There's the window's open at some point. Who knows what happens?
Absolutely.
The only thing is, I mean, it would have to be some strange, multiverse kind of rift, something, to be able to get them, to be together in that sense, because of
I would love to see that happen. To
space.
Just get everybody. We're going to do a jam book, and we're just have an overarching thing.
I'd love to see. I would love to see Chrome Dog throw down against Crimstone. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah.
To see the two just going at it.
I just want to see 9 people, 9 creators get together. And okay, you remember the X-Men Fleer trading cards of the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd collect them and you'd get the first 9 and you'd put them in the page. I want 9 creators to say, we're all going to launch within a certain window. We're all going to fulfill. So, we're going to be, professionals, and we're all going to have one trading card of our character in it. But that trading card is going to be part of a bigger picture. And what'll happen is, if you get like 3 big name producers and 3 mediums and 3 first timers who, can be trusted, I guess, to fulfill, guess what's going to happen? Somebody's going to buy 2 of these campaigns and like, oh, you mean there's 7 other cards? You know how compulsive we are in this industry as collectors. We're going to have the other 6. So we will go out and back 6 more campaigns just to get the cards so that we can say we've got
especially
that.
They're special and unique and right to that campaign, that particular thing. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, and Laurie, I have talked with people about this ad infinitum in the past, and someone said, yeah, we're doing it. And then they didn't do it. But if somebody just had like a generic game engine for cards, and it just made a deck, just fund a deck of a game.
So here's the thing. Like I've got into this game called Dice Masters, and it's built like the way that they do it, man. So WizKids in their wisdom on this, you've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you got WWE wrestlers, you got Marvel, DC. There's Warhammer, and you can mix and match any of them and play the game. And so it's like that's if we could have our own variants and create our own dice.
Exactly.
And cards
That's an open engine, so you're
and other indie creators.
Yeah.
If we could just
you're sitting there playing with a game with somebody, throwing down cards, and you'd say, I throw down Chrome Dog, and the other person like, where the hell did that come from?
Exactly. 100%. Like I'm already thinking about it.
Yes, somebody's going to do it. Somebody's got to do it. Yeah. All right, Justin, thanks for coming on and sharing this. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Folks in the chat, hit the link. Go out there and back Chrome Dog today or soon. At least remind yourself about it.
Yes.
Share it to other people. I never say share for myself, but do share the video so that other people can see what Justin's doing and make up their minds if they want to get in there and back it or not. And of course, while you were here, guys, all I can ask is that you had a blast. Good night.
Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network.